and then you never gave them up and never let them down.
Never gonna give, never gonna give.
Oh, classic.
Welcome to Namely 90s. Wow. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right. You're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew, and over there is Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Twitter and Instagram, but mostly Instagram at namely90s. You can also find this show on YouTube every Monday at youtube.com/@namely90s. And if you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/namely90s, also with a 90s, and check out our support levels. Hello. And welcome. Yes.
I thought you were talking to me.
No.
You were
I'm welcoming you.
Welcoming me to
welcome
our
to
podcast
your show.
That we were both here. Yeah. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. A 50th episode plus 30 some odd extra episodes.
Yeah. 150th?
Yeah.
I think you said 50th.
Did I feel like I meant to say 150.
Let's go back to the booth and check the replay after we're done recording.
150th episode. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what's up?
That means we've been doing.
What's up?
That means we've been doing. Oh wait, no, it doesn't. I was going to say that means we've been doing 30 of these, but we haven't.
We're close to the year 3,000 mark.
Yes. Oh, we are. We are. Which means if you want to send us something that we play on air, send it to us in the next week or two.
Send us a congratulatory message. Plead for us to stop making new episodes. whatever floats your little boat there.
Plug whatever you want that we feel
I
comfortable.
Always do.
Comfortable with airing on our podcast, and give us a shout out for 3 years if you feel like it. You could send that to I don't know, DM us on Instagram. We'll let you know. Comment somewhere on the YouTube page, and we'll I don't know. We'll figure it out. Andrew's supposed to put up all these dummy emails for our domain, but never did. So I don't have access to the back end, but
Shifty Eyes are a great thing for podcasting. Check out the YouTube channel for my Shifty Eyes.
YouTube.com/@namely90s. I gotta say, I'm just gonna start off by saying, wow, that Power Rangers special, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always, that was bad. Yeah. Andrew's. Yeah, you're not surprised. I
saw the trailer and that was bad.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's fair. I guess I was too bathed in the nostalgia juices to notice the stilted acting in the trailer.
Nostalgia juices, ick.
All over me. But it was just like, it was. They've teased this for a year. Like the writers of this are like, it's the 30th anniversary. We're gonna do it right. And it was an hour. It was an hour long, and they were kind of respectful to the source material, but at the same time, it was just like the budget wasn't there, the writing was not there, and the bad writing made for these actors coming back after like 30 years of
it could have been good. It wouldn't have been that hard to make it good.
That's what I'm saying.
Like the bar is so spectacularly low as it is.
Right. Because there are good seasons of Power Rangers. There are bad seasons of Power Rangers, more bad than good. But this was, the writing was bad, so it brought the acting down, and could have been better. the Megas. Oh yeah, and then there's the CG for the Megazords.
Oh no.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I gotta say, I just watched the season 3 finale, the series finale of Star Trek Picard. Chef's kiss. They stuck the landing. I would say the final 2 episodes were the weakest of the season, but it was they did it right. They rebooted it right. They brought back the old cast. They wrote them well. They gave them like some actual age, and it made sense. What didn't make sense is that these 40-somethings with air quotes for the Power Rangers special were out still fighting evil as the original Power Rangers in their old age. Those teenagers with attitude. But yeah, it was nice to see them back though, because it featured 4 of the actors that don't often get to come back for the reunion stuff. Yeah.
Well, good.
That's all off my chest now. How was your week? What have you been up to?
It's good. This week we are going to be, this week meaning the week this is actually airing. Well, not airing. This is released. We are going to a concert. We got floor seats to a concert on
Brandi Carlile.
Variety. No, close. Warmer. Let's say warm. Keep going. 90s artist, primarily.
Bad Religion.
Wildly popular 90s artist.
Hootie and the Blowfish.
One of the best recording artists. Sorry. One of the most. The recording artist who sold. How am I trying to say this?
Elton John.
One of the best-selling recording artists of the 1990s.
Pearl Jam?
Woman.
Shania.
Yes.
Wow.
Good guess. Yeah, we watched the special and Kayla wanted to go see her, so we bought tickets. We got some floor seat resale tickets. We're not like in the first section. We're in the next section back, but in the front row.
Is she playing the Gorge and George or what?
No, she's playing Spokane Veterans Memorial Arena. I think that's what it's called.
Is that where the hockey team plays?
Yeah. Holds about 12,000.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So we're going to that.
Yeah, let's go, girls.
I'm going to wear my pink cowboy boots and my leather vest or whatever. No.
Now, does she play the hits or does she play...
She plays some of all things.
Okay.
Because she has new music, but, it's just not quite the same. But yeah, it'll be fun.
If Jewel ever tours again, that would be interesting.
I was listening to a Love Line the other day, and she was at I think HF Festival, which is in DC, or no, it was Edge Fest in Minnesota or something. It's some fest that doesn't happen anymore. And she was singing, and someone winged a frisbee, and it hit her in the head.
Oh no!
And she just finished her song and left the stage. And someone hit Adam Carolla with a roll of quarters. Yeah, they just get rowdy at these festivals and start throwing stuff, apparently.
Coachella happened these last 2 weekends, and after the Monday after the first Coachella weekend, I'm just like, why does this even exist anymore? Just looking at everyone's the only people that go to Coachella now are Instagram people that are going to buy the VIP passes just to be I went to Coachella. Yeah. Look at my
I'm looking forward to getting a Let's Go Girls t-shirt and wearing it about.
Yes, absolutely. That's your new wardrobe for the show.
I never knew she had 3 diamond albums in a row. The only such artist to have done so.
I knew she had 2. I didn't know she had the 3rd.
She had 3.
Wow. Yeah.
Insane. Yeah.
Sorry, Jewel is still on my mind. When she did tour last, she did a College Humor thing or a Funny or Die, where they put makeup on her so she looked like a different person, and she went and sang karaoke. But she pretended to be the shy, bashful girl, and then she would belt out the Jewel songs perfectly, and everyone just "Oh my God, you're the best!"
She's like, "It's because I'm me."
Yeah. Well, at the end when they revealed it was actually Jewel, everyone's like, "Oh my God!"
Classic. I should watch that.
Yeah,
fun.
I'll find the link. I'll send it to you. But yeah, that made me appreciate our Lord and Savior Jewel.
Yeah. well, I didn't realize, apparently, I didn't know this. Shania Twain like got Lyme disease and kind of couldn't sing for like quite a while.
I didn't know Lyme disease affected your singing.
It can, apparently. It affected her breathing control or something.
Oh, that makes sense.
So she couldn't sing for a long time. Then she did a Vegas residency and now she's back on tour. So that's cool.
Well, I thought
that
once
don't
you hit,
impress me much.
I was going to say, once you hit your Vegas residency, do you really need to go back on tour again?
I think she likes it. I don't know. We're happy because we're going to go.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Indeed.
We'll look forward to your after action report next week. Although we'll probably record before you go.
Yeah, true. We definitely will.
In 2 weeks then.
Yes.
Should we summon Furbdon?
Let's do it.
Oh, mighty Jewel, send us our Furbdon.
April marks the anniversary of some of the most iconic moments of the 90s, including the release of the first ever smartphone and the start of the infamous O.J. Simpson trial. In what ways do you think the 90s were both ahead of their time and completely ridiculous?
A bold question.
Bold question. I don't really have anything prepared for this. Mostly because we don't prep for this.
Well, I think completely ridiculous is easier.
Yeah. Okay. Should we start with completely ridiculous?
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about Beanie Babies.
Okay. I was going to say Adam Sandler movies. Beanie Babies. Oh, that's true. That's fair. Just like any other collecting fad.
Yeah. I mean, like just the fact that they became like currency.
Oh, yeah.
Which we joked
Bitcoin.
about them being the Dogecoin or Bitcoin of the 1990s. And then the people like dividing them up at the divorce or whatever.
Yes. Well, I mean, I think I have 2 big bins of Beanie Babies in storage somewhere. And I have a Princess Di that's probably in mint condition in like a storage capsule thing.
They were unique in that they didn't come in a box to be new in.
True. Yeah, they were just thrown on the shelves at Hallmark.
But you never take that tag off. And they remember the tag protectors you could buy?
Yes.
The plastic tag protector.
Well, they had 2 kinds. They had the hard shells and then they had the slips, like just like in baseball cards.
You'd keep in like acid-free boxes in the basement, humidity controlled.
Well, I remember, so the Hallmarks, once the Bears became like the popular thing to get, the Bears would be behind the counter at Hallmark because you would have to go. Hallmark was a greeting card store. For those of you that don't remember, that's where you would primarily purchase Beanie Babies, or at least I would. And they would put the Bears like behind the counter, limit 1 per person, whereas they would just like put a pile of other Beanie Babies on the shelves. But yeah, there was a lot of like crazy collection stuff, especially in like the mid to early 90s. Like that's when the comic book fad started, like the collecting comic books. Because they had like all those events, like the death of Superman, which we've talked about, Green Lantern going crazy, Batman breaks his bat. That might have been the 80s, but like. It was in the 90s when like old issues of comics became appreciated enough that everyone thought, oh, I need to buy every new issue of a comic and get like these giant long boxes and have them in pristine condition because they're going to be worth money. And just like the Beanie Babies, they mass produced them so much. There was no appreciating value for any of it.
Yeah. And the bubble always bursts,
Mm-hmm. .com bubble.
The Beanie Baby bubble. I mean, the thing about the .com bubble is that like .com companies still exist and Beanie Babies technically still exist, but they're not like lucrative.
They have
there's some of them
revival. Yeah. Now there's what's the new one that everyone likes? The new plushie, Squishimals.
Squishmallow?
Squishmallows.
Yeah, I thought everything's got squish in the name now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I didn't know those were 2 different things, Squishimals and Squishmallows.
Let's see. Ahead of their time. This one's trickier.
Ellen DeGeneres Show.
Sure.
Or maybe that was more of the time.
Let's see. Who else? Michael Crichton. Writing books about cloning in the 90s. Cloning dinosaurs. I just saw... I think it was Allison Hayslip. She's going through like her diary as a 12-year-old. Allison Hayslip, D-list celebrity, but she's like a geek
geek icon, I guess. But like she's posting when she was 12, she wrote in a diary every day for a year. So she's now posting a page every day for a year, 30 years later. And she just, I think it was a day or two ago, her post was just finished reading finished reading Jurassic Park. The movie comes out on June 30th. Excited to go see that. And I'm like, that's cool. You read that before the movie came out.
The thing I found is I'm rereading a lot of his books right now.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I've had a science education, they make a lot more sense because they're very heavily technical.
Right.
The books.
Yeah, I've never actually read one of his books.
Let's see. Oh, Shania Twain ahead of her time.
How so?
She was the first woman to basically cross over successfully in a big way from country to pop, like a big way. And also, I didn't know
she
this.
was the Taylor Swift of her time.
Right. Her second album was produced by her husband or husband to be, who was like a rock guy who did the album Back in Black for AC/DC.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
That's
well,
cool.
There you go. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
you know?
that
Like, cool.
adds some success.
But they had never done that in country music. So it was kind of a cool ahead of their time thing. Completely ridiculous. Foreshadowing to next week. Y2K.
Oh, yeah. We definitely thought that we would not. We definitely thought that we built an infrastructure on just using 2 digits for our date instead of 4 for the year.
Yeah.
That it would ruin us. Does that mean once we somehow advance so far into the future, I mean, we'll all be dead.
Yeah.
But if somehow we survive and don't reset our calendars, by the time we get into 5 digits, there will be another Y2K type scare.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing. So, I mean, it didn't really affect anything ultimately. You know, they panicked and everyone was prepping like they are now. And, but there was like one observatory somewhere in the US where it thought the date was like January 1st, 19100. Like, what?
That's pretty fun.
Classic. Anyway.
Another ahead of their time, I would just say Star Trek, because it came back. I guess it came back in the late 80s, but that era was TNG, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and it kind of expanded on and brought a darker tone and a more mature tone, but it also still, Star Trek is always ahead of its time because it's using science fiction to tell allegorical stories from the modern day, where we're living the way we should be instead of the way we are now, which is how somehow regressed. So that's my 2 cents for this week.
Ahead of their time, Star Wars Episode 1, right? Like as far as the amount of computer generated graphics and effects in that.
Yeah, that, and I guess the special editions led the way for that.
Yeah.
And the many different Star Wars reboots along the way. Yeah. Also, the Mando season finale is pretty good as well this week. Completely ridiculous. Bill Clinton playing saxophone on Arsenio Hall.
But so good.
Yeah. And my favorite is I think it was might have been a few years ago. Maybe it's been longer than that now, but people swapped out Bill or whatever song Bill Clinton was actually playing and like added M83s, like one of their saxophone solos. So it looked like Bill Clinton was playing M83 in the 90s on Arsenio Hall.
There was one other one I had for ahead of their time.
Completely ridiculous. Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Although I really liked Home Improvement, but I was a kid, so
yeah. Boy, what was the other thing? The Simpsons for predicting a lot of things in the future.
Yeah, you know, if you throw enough things at a wall over a certain amount of time, it'll stick. Completely ridiculous. Family Guy. That was 99.
Yeah, 99.
Yeah.
Prove that you could be ridiculous on TV and get away with it for 25 seasons.
Mm-hmm, but
except for that one time.
Yeah. I guess Beavis and Butthead did that beforehand. They're back now too. Their new series started this month.
That was a Mike Judge thing, right?
It was.
I always forget he was like the one who adapted The Office to the US. I always forget that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it was it's the other guy.
No, you're right. Which one is it? Not Mike Judge.
I want to say he plays Robert Wallace.
Mike Judge did Office Space.
Yes, he did Office Space.
That's what I had wrong. Sorry.
Great movie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah. Whoops. I didn't know this, but by the way, Ron Livingston has a brother.
Yes. Dr. Livingston, I presume.
What?
Sorry, that's it.
So there's John Livingston, I was listening to an episode of Loveline, and there was his voice, and it sounded exactly like him, but his name was John. I was like, oh, his brother. I guess it makes sense. Most celebrities have siblings, so.
Yeah. Sorry, Dr. Livingston. Dr. Livingston, I presume, is from what is it? The guy searching for the source of the Nile. Anyway,
look that up.
Yeah.
Source of the Nile guy.
I think we filled the segment.
David Livingstone.
Yes.
Dr. David Livingstone.
But he's British, so you say Livingston.
Yeah. I heard this video. I watched this video about how like people in the South are just talking in a really slow British accent. And it's true, and it was actually like a linguist who was doing it.
Huh. My mother's my sister. My mother's my sister. Maybe.
Yeah, in a way, it's kind of interesting. Y'all want some sweet tea?
Ever been bit by a duck?
Want some sweet tea?
Ever been bit by a duck?
Ever been bit by a duck? That's how I remember the guy saying it. Inside joke.
I wasn't there.
Well, that about does it. Speaking of British people. And now let's go to Brandon for the Namely 90s Minute.
Welcome back to our mid-episode break, Namely 90s Minute. Every week we look back at a culturally relevant show, movie, or piece of pop culture that probably helps stoke the algorithm. This week, in honor of Evil Dead Rise, we're looking back at the last time Ash Williams was the protagonist in an Evil Dead movie in Army of Darkness. Army of Darkness is a 1992 dark fantasy horror comedy directed, written, and edited by the director of the first Spider-Man trilogy, and is the third film in the Evil Dead franchise. The film stars the guy who isn't Burn Notice in the TV series Burn Notice, Peter Parker's deceased mother in the second Spider-Man movies, Elaine's boss from Seinfeld, and Janet from Singles. After the end of Evil Dead 2, Ash is transported back to the Middle Ages and is captured by Lord Arthur's Ben, claiming Ash is a spy for Duke Henry. After being thrown into a pit with a deadite and killing it, he is released and hailed as a hero/chosen one. Ash just wants to go home though, and learns he needs to recover the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, the Book of the Dead, and heads out to find it, but not before putting the moves on local maiden Sheila, with his now legendary catchphrase, "Give me some sugar, baby." Ash enters the haunted forest to find the book and faces off with a mirror version of himself before finding the book, but he forgets the magic phrase he needs to say before taking it and mumbles through the third word, which awakens the Army of Darkness, led by his evil deadite self. Before Ash can return to his time, Sheila gets abducted by a flying deadite and transformed into one as well by evil Ash, so Ash reluctantly leads the humans against the Army of Darkness using his future knowledge and some textbooks he brought back in time. Ash defeats evil Ash, saves Sheila, and brings peace between Arthur and Henry, then returns to his own time and his job at the S-Mart. The film ends with Ash recounting his story to his co-workers before a deadite appears, and Ash blows it away with a Winchester rifle and then kisses his female co-worker after saying, "Hail to the king, baby." And that's Army of Darkness in a Namely 90s Minute. More or less.
But now, back to the show.
Yeah, now it's time for our favorite monthly segment. It's Quotely 90s from our friends at the Insanely Dangerous.
Except not favorite because we get wrecked every time.
Yeah, why don't you keep vamping on how bad we've been doing, because I realized I forgot to download these.
It's pretty poor.
Pretty piss poor. Well, okay. At least every time we've done it so far, I've realized while we're getting the answer that I recognize it. But yeah, it's not always exactly the best.
By the way, the Red Bull slush is back at Sonic. So good.
How you're enjoying it?
Mm-hmm. You don't have a Sonic.
Yeah, I think the closest Sonic for me is in Bakersfield.
I know that you can have a Sonic.
Like,
it's a drive up or drive through business.
That's fair. But I mean, the outlying cities can have it. It's just not in the city.
We're going to get Chick-fil-A across from my workplace.
I had an option to go to Chick-fil-A the other day, and I went to Arby's instead.
It's not that good.
It's not that good. Sorry, I found it. Yeah. Chick-fil-A is not. So yeah, we discussed this the other day. Chick-fil-A is definitely the. I would call it the.
The nuggets are gross.
I kind of like the nuggets. The only thing.
The fries are undercooked.
I said it before. Not on the podcast, but to you. Chick-fil-A is like Arby's. The only like thing of value
is the sauces. Thank you. Yeah, the fries are undercooked. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's not the best.
I'm not sitting in line for an hour blocking a main road to get it,
Right? Like Popeye's chicken, that's worth not blocking an intersection, but some things. Okay, let's do this.
All right, let's do it.
Share sound. Sorry, I should have queued that up while we were on break. All right, here we go. Can you hear it?
Oh, yeah. This is the equivalent to us playing Jeopardy music, basically.
Yes.
Except we know what that is.
But you could also hear my mix of the song that we use. Did they clip ours? They gave me the audio originally. Huh.
Hey there, Brandon and Andrew. It's Gaz and Dange from TIDRP, your brother horseman in this retro apocalypse.
Today we have a little quiz for you, a memory game, if you will, that Gaz has lazily named Quotely 90s.
This week we're sending you a quote and see if you can guess its origins from some piece of pop culture from the 90s.
Just remember, our worlds weren't as interconnected then as we lived across the pond and the internet still ran on coal.
We'll also, because we're copying you, do multiple readings and either do a poor imitation of the character/person who said it or poor imitations of whoever we feel like.
And if you're lucky, you'll hear me slip into my terribly offensive English accent.
Is that enough of a setup for you lads? Are you ready for Quotely 90s?
Name the TV show and if possible the character that said this. Bonus points for the actor, but you'll never get it.
This is Cringer, my fearless friend.
This is Cringer, my fearless friend.
This is Cringer, my fearless friend.
Oh yeah, this is Cringer, my fearless friend.
This is Cringer, my fearless friend.
That voice is weird.
This is Cringer, my fearless friend.
This is Cringer, my fearless friend.
This is Cringer, he's my fearless friend.
This is Cringer, my fearless friend.
Yeah, this is Cringer, my fearless friend.
I think the Macho Man Randy Savage one was my favorite.
Well, the problem is I have no idea what the hell that's from.
Yeah, well, they said it's a TV show.
Oh, really?
Now, question is it an 80s or 90s? Well, it's clearly 90s. They probably did a 90s, but who knows? Yeah. Or so their most recent episodes have been reruns from the 60s and 70s that played during the 80s and 90s. But I don't remember if there's a part 3 or 4 to it that would be applicable to this, because we kind of stagger how this goes.
I feel bad because I don't even have a guess.
Yeah, the last 3, I kind of like it. It rang a bell. Cringer. It's not. It's. I mean, they said we'll never get it. It's probably like some sort of like English program that we've never seen before. But my guess would be, I don't know, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, which was technically the 80s, but also aired in the 90s. Cringer.
Yeah, Cringer kind of sounds like a villain name in a way, like a sidekick.
Yeah. Unless it's like some sort of Power Ranger thing that I completely forgot about. But
yeah, it's beyond me. I have no idea.
Beyond me too. I guess we have another month where we haven't won yet.
We're good at this.
Shall we go on to the answer?
Sure.
Why is it louder?
It's not really 90s. It kind of is, but it's kind of not. So it's not really in your wheelhouse. But you must have seen reruns, and at the end of I wanted to do it, so there.
This is Cringer, my fearless friend.
Was said by John Irwin as Prince Adam /
No!
in the 1983 blockbuster cartoon He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
This is such a massive episode. The importance and sheer awesomeness of He-Man cannot be underestimated. Unless you're talking about the utter pile of crap 90s remake.
And if you want to hear more about the adventures of He-Man and us possibly moan about the 1990s version of He-Man, you can find out and tune in on Thursday or next Wednesday even as we cover it on our show.
Find out your platform of choice at the Insanely Dangerous Retro Podshow. Now, let's throw it back over to those masters of the retro universe, Brandon at Arms and Andrew Lynn.
Yeah, 0 for 3.
We got it might be 0 for 4.
Yeah, it might be actually.
Yeah. So we I've seen some He-Man. Definitely reruns. But I prefer one. I don't think I heard a Skeletor voice in there. Did you hear a Skeletor? He-Man. So I can't.
I don't know. There was a series of really creepy sounding voices, though.
Oh yeah. Well, there was that creepy sounding voice, but I feel like he does that one every time.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I don't know. He-Man. I don't even remember. Is Cringer the little rhinoceros thing that shoots lasers out of it?
Stop screen sharing.
Oh yeah, sure. And let's see what else. If you like your retro with an equal helping of 80s, so watch down the 90s, check out the Insanely Dangerous Retro Podshow on your platform of choice and follow up with those wascally wabbits on this Wednesday's episode. You'll even get to catch us delivering a quotely 90s to Gaz and Dange, sometimes relevant to our next episode. But yeah, I'll be checking out the He-Man because I clearly
Cringer's a tiger.
Oh, the tiger. Yeah. I never understood He-Man that well. I was more of a Thundercats guy. If like we're going with 80s action hero cartoon shows like that. But yeah. Thanks for the quote, Lee. Sorry we didn't get it this time.
Once again.
But yeah, age gap strikes again. Do you want to do a BuzzFeed quiz?
Let's do a BuzzFeed quiz.
Okay, this BuzzFeed quiz I found it's how well do we know the 90s? Only 15% of people remember enough of the 90s to ace this quiz. It'll be in the description below. And it's from M. Morrison 90, a community contributor on Buzzfeed. I guess Andrew and I will be doing this together.
Yes.
And there's 10 questions from what I understand, and each question is from a year in the 90s, kind of like how we would do an episode from a month in the 90s. But the first question is, what did NASA famously launch in 1990? The Hubble Space Telescope, Mariner 4, Sputnik 1, or the Mars Pathfinder? Because we just did the space episode 2 weeks ago where we went over the space stuff.
Hubble seems 90 seems early for Hubble, doesn't it?
Hubble was early, but I want to say it was 91.
I want to say is it Mariner 4?
I think it was because obviously it wasn't Sputnik. That's the first
Ruskies.
first Russian space probe. The Pathfinder was mid 90s, so it must have been Mariner 4, right?
I want to say Mariner 4.
Yeah, I want to say Hubble was 91. It was Hubble, damn it.
Sons of bitches.
Mariner 4 was 64.
It was a guess.
Thinking Voyager.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we literally talked about that 2 weeks ago and could not remember it. So this is going to go well.
Which infamous serial killer was arrested in 1991? John Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, or Richard Ramirez? I'm leaning toward Richard Ramirez.
I don't know who that one is.
He's the one who killed all those nurses in the dormitory.
Dahmer was mid 90s, right?
I don't know, actually.
John Wayne Gacy, I want to say was the 70s because you always see like those pictures.
Ted Bundy was late 70s, early 80s, I thought. We're probably completely wrong. I want to say Richard Ramirez.
Let's do it. You listen to the Serial Killer podcast.
Oh, gosh. Godspeed. Here we go. No.
That was Dahmer. I thought wasn't Dahmer okay.
Okay, this isn't going well.
Nope.
Okay, your turn.
Who was elected president in 1992? That would be Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
Okay, good.
What Texan city experienced a major siege in 1993 that resulted in over 75 deaths? Waco, Fort Worth, Amarillo, or Houston?
I want to say it was Waco, but
Waco.
Fort Worth sounds familiar as well.
It's Waco.
Okay. That was the one where they had the FBI facility or the FBI surrounded the facility. Okay. Yeah. Which ice skater? See, now that we're out of when we were 2, we might be getting these. Which ice skater was attacked and suffered a knee injury in 1994? That was Tanya Harding. It was Michelle Kwan, Tanya Harding, Christy Yamaguchi, or Nancy Kerrigan. That was Tanya Harding, this boyfriend taking a lead pipe to Nancy Kerrigan's knee, right?
Yes. Indeed.
It was Nancy Kerrigan. Nancy Kerrigan was attacked during practice for the 1994 Olympic trials. Although denying involvement, Tanya Harding pleaded guilty to conspiracy.
Who of the following was not on trial in 1995? Yolanda Saldivar, O.J. Simpson, the Menendez brothers, or the LAPD for the Rodney King beating?
Okay, so in 95, we know O.J. was.
Yeah.
We know the Menendez brothers were.
LAPD was probably earlier than that.
Well, I think because it took a year for them to go to trial. I remember that in doing the info for the Namely 90s stuff.
Who's Yolanda Saldivar? Seems like they want us to choose that one.
Should we? Because I know the LAPD went to trial late for the Rodney King beatings.
Okay.
The riots were 3 or 4 though, is the question.
Well,
let's go Yolanda Saldivar.
Son of a bitch. I thought so. Oh well, what can you do?
Fair enough.
It was the LAPD.
It was the LAPD.
What was the name of the sheep that was cloned in 1996? Was it Molly, Daisy, Polly, or Dolly? Dolly.
Whose death shocked the world in 1997? We switched. Whose death shocked the world in 1997? Yeah, because I was evens. Was it Michael Jackson, Princess Di, Whitney Houston, or Anna Nicole Smith?
Princess Di, wasn't it?
Yes, but wow, all of these people are dead.
Well, yeah.
Well, I guess that's fair, but it's just like, wow.
Who did Bill Clinton deny having sexual relations with in 1998? Stormy Daniels. No, he paid her off. Madeleine Albright, Monica Lewinsky, or Janet Reno? It was definitely Janet Reno. I think I rented a video like that. No, Monica Lewinsky.
I was going to say, how this was written in 2001 or 2021. So,
all right, your turn.
Sorry. Where were we? It was
99.
Yeah. Also, she needs to stop being the butt of the jokes because Bill Clinton was the person in the wrong there.
Mm-hmm.
What was the most popular toy in 1999? Was it the Tamagotchi, the Cabbage Patch Dolls, Hatchimals, or the Furby?
I actually don't know.
Well, so Cabbage Patch Dolls was 80s, Hatchimals were 2010s.
Yeah.
So it's either, I think it's the Tamagotchi.
But weren't we younger when Tamagotchi was popular?
No, it was third grade. So that was 99. Yeah.
That was first grade in 95.
Ooh, so maybe it was fifth grade.
Then Furbies were weird and came out around then too.
Yeah. I want to say Tamagotchi was 99.
All right.
I feel like we said it. Damn it. You're
it's
right.
Furby. Oh, no. Well, 6 out of 10. For a 90s podcast, that's
not great. Especially since we've covered all of these topics at one point.
Yeah.
Oh, glad you learned along with us, listeners.
Who are the guys in this GIF? Oh, just kidding.
That's George Clooney. That's George Clooney and the guy
Matthew Broderick,
Noah Wiley.
Okay, it's Joey and Chandler clapping.
Yeah. So. We scored better than 41% of all other quiz takers. Not horrible. You didn't do too bad. I guess you're either a young millennial or we're just napping in history class.
Who's history class?
I mean, we're mid to young millennials.
Yeah.
Technically, we're not border, but we're on the younger half of the millennial side, right? Yeah.
Let's see. Millennials born 82 to 94, so we're kind of late millennials.
Yeah.
Young millennials. Yeah.
Well, I mean, at least some of the we got down to 50-50s, and then
we're millennials.
And then one of us had the right idea, and the other one of us led us wrong.
Whoops.
Gosh darn! Wow, that Furby on the left is terrifying.
Oh gosh, look at the time. I think we're done.
Yeah.
Good work.
That's it for this week's edition of Namely 90s. Remember, you can find new episodes out every Monday. Join us next week for a deep dive episode. Find us on Instagram at namely90s.com with the 90s, and tell us what you want us to talk about on future episodes. If you like to support the show, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/namely90s, also with the 90s. Finally, you can also contact us through our website, namely90s.com. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Audible, Adam Sandler, Teaser, TuneIn, iHeart, Good Pods, and wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Brandon. That's Andrew, and we'll catch you next time.
Let's go, girls.
Dun, 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 dun.